Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with a Side of Chat. I'm Big Mon.
And I'm Little Lana. And today we will be exploring ideas from The Truman Show and how its ideas mirror that of Henry David Thoreau's and how we can relate to these ideas.
For those listeners who have never seen The Truman Show, it is about a man named Truman whose entire life has been a reality TV show. Everyone and everything in his life is staged, and it is not until later that he becomes suspicious of everything that is happening around him. In the end, he is able to escape his artificial world. We will begin to take some calls in a moment, but first let's talk thoroughly.
Thoroughly indeed. There was one quote from Walden that stood out especially in relation to The Truman Show. The quote goes, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation."
Wow, heavy stuff. What I think Thoreau was trying to say is that the pressure to conform to society's expectations and routine hinders individuals from fulfilling their actual desires in life.
Wow, heavy indeed. I can really see this theme in The Truman Show. For example, when Truman is constantly convinced by his co-workers that he should remain in the insurance business, when really, he is unhappy with his job. In this clip, even his best friend Marlin is being fed information from the director and pushing ideas onto Truman about how he should think and feel. Although Truman feels differently, voices like Marlin's have been suppressing Truman's adventurous personality for years.
You know, I'm thinking about getting out, Marlin.
Yeah? Out of what?
Out of my job. Gotta see you. Off this island, out.
Out of your job? What the hell's wrong with your job? You have a great job, Truman. You have a desk job.
And that's just one of the many examples. Now here's some food for thought. For the listeners out there, Truman gets up every morning and drags himself to a boring job that he doesn't care for, only to go home every day and repeat this dull routine, day after day. And why? We've got a caller on line 1. What do you think?
Well, it's simply because the society he lives in creates, expectations for him, and has been putting ideas of, social conformity in his head since he was a baby. Yeah, good point. Caller 2!
Well, even if society has expectations for him, why doesn't he just do whatever he wants? It's not that simple. Think about it. Decisions we make every day are influenced by the people around us, big and small. For example, Lon, do you remember sitting down one day and really deciding whether or not you want to go to college?
No, now that you say that, I always just assumed that it was my only option. I never questioned following an alternative path after high school. I just went straight to planning for college. Now that I think about it, I have no idea what I want to do.
And I feel the same way. Just as Truman's world steered him wherever it wanted him to go, our world indirectly steers our thoughts and futures. Unfortunately, it's hard to break out of this mold that has been made for us.
It's hard, but not impossible. Truman's desire to break away is not that different from, let's say, Chris McCandless, for example. Chris McCandless is an appropriate example for today's discussion because he lived by the words of Henry David Thoreau. Chris McCandless had the typical childhood, went to high school, and then went to college, and then after college he just decided that that's not what he wanted. He just broke away and went into the wild. He just wanted to avoid the typical cookie-cutter life.
Maybe he was on a diet. Chris made a lot of mistakes on his journey, but both he and Truman broke away, something that so many of us are afraid to do. John Krakauer sums it up in this quote from Into the Wild.
So many people live within unhappy circumstances and yet will not take the initiative to change their situation because they are conditioned to a life of security, conformity, and conservation, all of which may appear to give one peace of mind, but in reality, nothing is more damaging to the than a dangerous spirit within a man than a secure future. Adventurous spirit within a man than a secure future.
You can really see Thoreau's influence here, as well as the connection to what Truman was facing. Truman had a secure life where he conformed to whatever the directors had planned for him. This conservative life restrained him from achieving his adventurous goals of leaving his Sea Haven Island home and exploring the world.
Don't we all dream of getting away from the path that others have laid for us?
Maybe if I wasn't so steered toward a certain idea of my future, I would be able to discover and pursue passions I never knew I had, like ice road trucking.
Or gator wrangling.
Or antique hunting.
I think what the Truman Show is trying to tell us is to look around and evaluate our lives. Make sure that you're doing what you really want to do. Ask yourself if your life reflects your passions, not the opinions of others.
Thanks, Truman! Looks like we've got one last caller.
What the hell are you talking about?
Oops, looks like we've lost him.
Breakfast with a side of chat. Join us next week where we'll explore the controversial lives of shopping mall masseuses.
In case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.